to episode 2 of Vanlife Diaries. In this episode I want to tell you all about the trip that changed my life. So it was coming up to my 30th birthday and I'd always had in my head that I would be in Vegas for my 30th birthday. But that changed when I was randomly looking through Skyscanner at flights and I come across a £40 flight to Iceland. So right there and then I booked the flight, not knowing anything about Iceland. I later then realised how expensive it was to actually travel in Iceland, but 40 quid for a flight, can't go wrong. So I just spent the summer holidays roaming around Cornwall in my caddy, and that kind of made me think, oh, I could just travel Iceland in a van. So that's what I did. Before this holiday, I'd only ever been on the all-inclusive package holidays trips where everything was done for you. So this was part of the fun and excitement, just the unplanned, the not knowing. Picked up the van from the airport and it was like rain like I've never seen before. It was gale force winds like I've never experienced before. And I was about to drive the van on the wrong side of the road. I've never done that before. So it's just excitement. Like when you go on a trip and you're like, I don't know what's coming. It's just pure excitement. So I go to the shop, pick up a load of stuff for the van, and then drive out the shop on the wrong side of the road. Nearly crashed, but I learned quickly that not the best idea to drive on the wrong side of the road. Anyway, the plan was to just drive, and in Iceland that's pretty easy because there's just one long road around the country. So that's what we did. It was just such an eye-opener, like how beautiful this country was, how like just different it was to England, and how one minute you're just driving down and there's like waterfalls and green, and then the next minute you're going past black beaches and like mountains and snow, and then obviously you've got the tunnels. Like I'd never been through a tunnel that long before in my life, and that was an experience in itself. Like it's just the little things, and those are the things that matter. Like I can remember going through the tunnel and just laughing because it was just like we didn't know if we were going to come out the other side or not. It was that long. Like I think the reason I don't like to plan trips is because you don't know what's coming next, and then that's the excitement, and that's the special thing. Like we was driving down the south of the island and then we went across this bridge, and then all of a sudden on next to us was just these icebergs, and it was like one of the most beautiful things I'd ever seen. And then because we had no plan and we were in the van, oh, let's just park up here for the night. So the next morning, and this was my actual birthday, I wake up, take my morning pee on these rocks, and sit there watching these seals just swimming in and out of the icebergs. I mean, that's an incredible way to wake up. I just, like, this was back in 2015, so it might be different driving around Iceland now because it's a lot more touristy, but the experience I had was waking up to nothing and no one, just the beautiful landscape. It was just incredible. So when I went on this trip, I didn't even know that making videos was a thing. I didn't know, I didn't even own a camera. I took photos on my phone. I didn't write about my experience. So this is just going from memory, like, so I haven't got much footage to show you, but the pictures I will, like, I'll just chuck in as I go. But I fell in love with waterfalls. That country is just incredible for waterfalls, and waking up and falling asleep to the sound of waterfalls was amazing. And we went in October time, and I found out about the Northern Lights and that there could be a possibility of seeing them, but I didn't want to get my hopes up because I heard a lot of people go there, they don't see them, so I had no expectation of it. And then I was driving up to, I think it's called Waterfalls, it's on the North Island, and there's this road, and you can't even call it a road. Like, it's meant to take half an hour to get to the top. Took probably about 4 hours and 1 flat tyre later. Like, I was driving 2, 3, 4 miles an hour just to try not to like burst the tyres, but it did in the end. But it was part of the adventure. I was sat there in the pitch black, freezing cold, changing a tyre. And then we get there to the top, to the waterfall, can't see anything. Just hear the sheer sound of the waterfall. It was it was incredible sound. And then making dinner in thermals, like just jacket over jacket over jacket outside because it was that cold. And then the Northern Lights come out, and it was just like, it was just incredible. So didn't sleep that night because it was just watching out the window, the Northern Lights, and they move so fast. Like, I've seen photos of them before, and you don't know what to expect, but they just change colour, they like move so fast, and it's just like, I don't know, it's like magic. Incredible. So anyway, we wake up the next morning and didn't realise how close we'd parked to the edge of the cliff where the waterfall was. So that was that's something that I would recommend. Maybe getting out of the van and just getting your torch out and having a look where you're parking. So we changed the flat tyre on the road before, and the tyre that we had was already flat, so we had to go all the way back down that road with the spare tyre on that was already flat and get to a garage. We managed to get to a garage, and then because we went to the garage, we ended up in this place where you could go and watch whales. We went and watched like on this whale boat trip, and it was just an incredible like journey of like the not knowing, and we end up in this town to change a tyre, and there's boats that go out and see whales, so you go and do that. And then 3 nights of Northern Lights in a row, just incredible. It was just going from like waterfall to like being out in the ocean. Like one night before we did the boat trip, we parked up on this like cliff top overlooking the ocean, and we were sat there watching, and we're like, is that like, I swear there was a whale in the ocean, like when we were sat at the back of the van, like it was there 1 minute and then not, then there. And then we asked the next day we went on the whale trip, and we said, oh, we thought we seen it, and we thought we seen whales yesterday, but I think it was too close inland. And she was like, no, that's where they go for the breeding and stuff, so you probably would have. So that was crazy. But it was just, I think what I loved about this road trip was the unplanned element, and just the changes in scenery. Like, so we went from the green and the waterfalls to like the snow-capped mountains, and then we turn this corner and it's just like you're on the moon, like the landscape and the whatever they're called that like shoot up. What are they called?
Volcanoes
that shoot up.
The volcanoes?
Not well, yeah, the volcanoes. We climbed the top of a volcano. Like, just we got there, and then it's like stuff happened. It was just incredible. One of my favourite experiences is like these stupid, silly little things, but they seem to happen when I go for a pee in the wild. I was just sat there like crouched down peeing, and then all of a sudden the Northern Lights come out above my head, and it's just like, you just can't plan that stuff. It just happens. So we made it all the way around the south, the east, and then the north. We come back down into the west and did the golden circle thing. I enjoyed it, but after experiencing all of that and having literally like the whole place to yourself, like we played a game on like driving of how many cars were we going to spot today. That's how like vast it was. Oh yeah, and the reindeers, like driving up this road and just seeing like a herd of reindeers. I can't express enough how you just need to do, you just need to go, you just need to, just don't worry about planning, just go and experience it. But anyway, so we come into the West Coast and did the Golden Circle, and it was nice, but it was really, really overcrowded, and that's just not my thing. And again, cities aren't my thing, so I didn't explore the city. Plus, we was on a budget. I booked a 40 quid ticket, and I bought like a load of packet noodles with me because I realised how expensive it was going to be. So the only thing that we spent money on was like some fresh stuff. We drank water out of the waterfalls, and fuel. That was it. I can't really remember the prices because it was so long ago, but it's an amazing country to go and explore, and I would 100% just recommend getting lost in Iceland. So you might be wondering how this trip changed my life. Basically, I went to Iceland one person, and I come away from Iceland a completely different person. I had no signal on that trip, and that was the first time in 6 years that I didn't think about work. Like, I couldn't check my emails, I couldn't reply to emails, I couldn't know what was going on back at work. And it made me realise that none of that is important. Like, yeah, it's important to do something you love and something you enjoy, but the most important thing is like being in the moment, like having that pee in the middle of nowhere watching seals, like driving along a road and just seeing a herd of reindeers and just taking it all in and not being distracted by like all the noise of life. And it really got me thinking, like, do I need a house? Like, why do I need to be working 70 hours a week to get like all this money to pay for my house, to like, it didn't make sense. And I really started to think about it. Would it be easier just to just get rid of it all, move into my van I had at the time, the caddy, and that's what I did. I come back from Iceland, I sold my business, I sold my house, and I moved into my VW caddy. So next week's episode will be all about that journey. The journey of telling my family what I was doing, the journey of people's opinions, and yeah, so join me next week for the day that I moved into my VW caddy.